And I am back. Hello, everybody. My name is Chip Knight. This is my website, from prisontoprofessor.com. I'm a convicted marijuana trafficker that did 6.25 years for possession of marijuana. And today I want to talk more about conversations in prison. And the one that stands out right now is a conversation I had with this guy. I'm not going to use his last name, and I don't know his first name. But it's always the tall people that stick out. And this guy was tall. He was 6'1" or 6'2". And he was under the control of a Nazi in our cell block. And one day they opened up the cell block so you could, we couldn't go outside, but we could stay in the cell block. So they opened the cell block up, and I see this guy, and he looks completely freaked out. He's traumatized. And one thing you don't run around asking people is why they're traumatized. What traumatized you? But I can spot this pretty quick in people. And, I was curious. What the fuck had happened since yesterday? I think maybe that was the first time we got out for the day. And you're wondering, he didn't look like he had been beat up or anything, but he definitely was traumatized. And I found out later on that the Nazi talked this guy in to letting a dude suck his dick. That was the trauma. Oh my God. I can't believe somebody could be talked into that. Yeah, and this Nazi he was probably the most evil person I crossed paths with when I was in prison. He had spent his whole life locked up. He said he first got locked up when he was 16 and went to juvenile hall or whatever they called it, where he was living in California. But had only been free for a few months at a time in between prison sentences. And he was in prison in Arizona. He and his father were on a road trip going to Virginia. West Coast to the East Coast. And their idea of taking a road trip to Virginia to see family was they were just going to commit crimes along the way to get the money to pay for the road trip. And they stopped off of the highway in Arizona. And they were going to, they were staking out, trying to, timing, and they were going to rob a 7-Eleven or a Circle K, a convenience store. And apparently they were suspicious looking enough that the store manager called 911, asked him to send a squad over. So this cop shows up and ends up approaching them, just a little dialogue, and they end up attacking the police officer, and they take his gun. And the police officer just starts running through the desert as fast as he could, and they're shooting. They emptied the clip. They didn't hit him. What kind of father is that? That's the kind of thing you do with your son. He made a comment about someone they robbed on the highway before they, got into Arizona. And he took the convenience store guy, took his driver's license. He says, if I end up getting in trouble because of what you say, my brother, now we have your address. My brothers will come and kill you. And how would you like to have someone rob you at gunpoint and then threaten to have his brother kill you if you identify him? It's terrifying on top of terrifying. I just can't imagine father and son on a road trip like that. That's just, they're both locked up. This guy had done a lot of time in California. And though he was short, he was one of those guys that just spent all his time on the weight pile trying to get big, to look bigger and tougher. And yeah, there's something, I feel like I caught a break. Tall people in prison. Not many people are 6 feet tall. And size means everything in prison. But this guy is locked up. I don't know. I don't know how he didn't get a life sentence after attacking a police officer and then shooting at him with his own gun. That is a terrifying individual. And it just reminds me of the story I watched the other day where this, I think this guy was 18 or 19 years old. This ghetto trash that arranged to buy a pair of tennis shoes from someone from Craigslist. And then when they got together, it wasn't a sale, it was a ripoff. And the girl tried to keep the guy from taking the shoes, and he shot her in the head and killed her over a pair of shoes. And so what law do you have to pass in order to stop someone from taking the life over a few dollars? I mean, that saying, dollars for decades. It doesn't make rational sense for someone to do that at the age of 18, to say, I'm going to go rob some girl, I'm going to take her tennis shoes and then shoot her in the head and kill her. For most normal, rational thinking people, I'm going to waste my whole life over a few dollars. But people that grow up in poverty, that grow up, in poverty, poor, neglected, abused, what they think they're risking by doing these crimes, they're not risking much. The quality of their life outside of prison wasn't great. Quality of their life in prison, not too bad. And there is no law that you can pass to stop this. If you want to stop this, what you have to do is end poverty. That's the answer. End poverty. We'd be able to eventually, the prison population could be cut in half, if not more, by eliminating poverty. Why? Because poverty leads to crime, and crime leads to prison. We know the formula. I don't understand why there's not more resolve within Christian America to say, there's an answer to the crime we have. If we eliminate poverty, the crime rate will go down substantially. That makes sense. Why isn't anybody talking about it? And you'd almost have to believe that, I guess there are certain people in society that need poverty to point to in order to elevate themselves. Dollars for decades. It makes about as much sense of these husbands that murder their wives. Now, the husband had the choice of getting a divorce, or here's your choice. You're going to get a divorce, or you're going to murder your wife and then spend the rest of your life in prison. It's shocking how many people choose, I'm going to murder my wife. No one's going to suspect me. And then I'll be free, and she won't have any of my money. You could have gotten a divorce, but you chose murder. And on that note, I got to stop here for now. Once again, my name is Chip Knight. This is my website, from prison to professor.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Ciao.